Every year, thousands of senior engineers walk into system design interviews, and these are very big companies. Amazon, Microsoft, Flipkart, many for which you have heard the name and want to get into these companies. Most of them have years of experience, strong resumes, and real projects, and they still fail. Not because they do not know system design, but because when they what they know and what exactly happens in these companies are totally different things, are totally different stories. Our today's guest has spent 9 years on the other side of the gap, building systems that process 15 billion every single day, and sitting across the table from engineers who could explain why their design would break at scale. Very welcome to the Geeks for Geeks podcast, where we bring you to the conversation and people no one in the Indian tech industry doing right now. Our today's guest is Mr. Abhishek Tripathi, and he has worked at Salesforce, Microsoft, and Amazon, ऑल बिग कंपनीज जिनमें आप जाना चाहते हो, जिनके लिए आप प्रिपेयर करना चाहते हो. He'll be sharing how you can be one of them, and how you can crack the interviews that no one is cracking, and students are facing difficulty in facing. Very welcome, Abhishek sir. Hi Abhishek.
Hi, Avni. I'm audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Abhishek Tripathi, and thank you, Avni, for a quick introduction.
Before
Uh,
before we get
yeah.
into some real talk, we want to know your story because it's almost a decade for now. You are
Okay.
in the system, you are working as a engineer, और आपने बहुत सारा इंडस्ट्री ऑलरेडी देखा. वी वांट टू नो योर साइड ऑफ स्टोरी कि वो 2017 से लेकर 2026 तक का जर्नी कैसे था.
Got it. So I joined industry in year 2017, and it's 2026. So I have a 9 years experience. So I'll talk about. Okay. So when I joined it, industry was altogether in the different zone. It's like you don't have a AI in the system, AI in the place. You have just systems where you need to figure it out the things. You need to learn from the documentation, and once you have a learning curve, after that you need to implement a solution. These days, the learning curve is altogether change. Now, the coding part is almost it is wiped out. To be very very honest, like LLMs are there, they can do the coding stuffs and whatnot. Yes, the conceptual things remains the same. Like what the problem I can see right now, when I joined the industry, it was like people do a deep dive by themselves, but they look into the code, they go for the more discussions and whatnot, which will take a lot amount of time. So let's say if any project needs to be delivered within the 6 months, uh, in the present world, if it is getting delivered within the 6 months, it will take approximately an year or something like that, and the number of people will be more in the project. But nowadays the idea is changed. You have like less number of people in a team, and you require more number of system knowledge to solve a particular a problem statement which is given to you. Because I know like LLMs, each and everything will be in place, but something which is not irreplaceable in this particular world is a systems. LLMs cannot build a system. LLMs can write a code, but the building the system will take a huge amount of time. Huge amount of time. They LLMs can build a compiler within the days. They can build a compiler,
Mhm.
but ultimately you are the one who is going to take the single machine code to the multi-level machine code, which we call the scalability in the distributed system. Yeah, that's the simple idea. That's the change in the industry what we have shifted to. Yeah.
That's the gap. That's exactly what today's conversation is about. So let's get a bit deeper into it. And we'll be talking from the beginning only. Let's go
Yeah,
back to the
sure.
beginning because I think understanding where you started makes everything that follows the land much harder. So most engineers spend preparing for the system design interviews and still feel underprepared. This would be the same case with you as well. From your experience on both sides of the table, what do you think that keeps happening?
uh, okay, so let me cover let me start from the very very basic. So let's say uh, when I got graduated, like you the idea is like basically if you have a group or if you have a proper mentorship since starting, then it will be great. But I am not from coming from that kind of a college where you have a great mentorship. My college is almost shut down. Like it's the degree only exists, and that's the only faith I have that that university won't shut down in my case.
Hmm.
The bad part is like I don't have a such kind of circle where I will say like, okay, I wanted to learn something, I wanted to spend some time on the like systems and whatnot. Even the coding is not that great at in my college. Like there will be no push for these kind of events. So when I joined my gate coaching at that given point of time, I met couple of friends, and that is the time when I started my career transition for each and everything. I met one
Hmm.
of my friend who is like who went for the IITs and whatnot, and he guided me like from the IIT. He used to guide me that what you need to study, because in the IITs or NITs you have a good group. Like people spend a lot of time either building a startup or either building or preparing for a bigger companies, correct? And that is what the missing part over here across the India. What I have felt like if you have an interest, definitely nowadays it's a different game. But I'm talking about the days when I was in the college and when I am coming out to the fresh in the industry. Now the second part is once you have a, like a guidance or the mentorship, but other part is like the problem is somebody tells you that boss you need to work upon this. It's totally fine, but how to work upon, like you are not sure about it. Like are you going to dedicate this much hours? Are you going to what what are the resources available? Now
Hmm.
these are the few things which I felt missing, because my friend cannot be on a call for with me for a 1 hour 2 hour 3 hour. It is not feasible, it is not possible. And that's where like the real challenge at that time in the that era it started coming. So there is a couple of suggestions which will be since starting my you can say like I have a like couple of mentors during when I started my journey. I'm blessed with a lot of many good mentors. So he started telling me like start joining the architecture meetings. Like you have architecture meetings at late night. If you are working in the MNC, probably like you have a late night architecture meeting. I'm giving you the guarantee that most of the people right now skip it, or they join it, they just go for the enjoyment. But those meetings are not meant for the enjoyment, they are meant for actually spending some lot good amount of time to understand the things. The second part is like people are not curious when I joined, or these days what I'm believing, people are not curious towards. See, if you are looking for 60 lpa 70 lpa or something like that, if you're targeting it, nobody going to give you the free dinner over here. It's like you need to
Hmm.
be curious, you need to be like more aggressive towards like learning what is going on in the system. And that is what I adopted since the start of my career. What so my friend, his name is Jitin Bafna, he helped me out to figure it out the things that what needs to be learned. So that is a one gap what he fulfilled. How to learn it, basically that is a strategy what I adopted, like looking into either talking to few of my colleagues or either talking to few of my friends and whatnot. Now once I have architecture meetings and whatnot, the second part comes into the picture, that the other side of it. So one side of I talked about like this what you need to do. You need to do a lot of things also. You need to be very, so there the learning is not going to be happen like randomly. You cannot go randomly and start learning something. No, it should be in order. If it is not in order, then there will be a lot of problem. It needs to be certain order. And that is like I
Hmm.
think so that is the best part of mentorship. Now after that one, like there is a one major part which is missing, like which most of the people like I took approximately with the gigs for gigs system design batches, approximately I took 15 to 18 batches right now till now, online offline including everything I am telling you. I each and every time I tell to candidates that please give the mock interviews. If you join, like if you are joining this particular course and whatnot, please give me the mock interviews. And mock interviews I am not asking for a money or something. Now the problem is everyone like initial of the classes will say like, okay, I wanted to give the mock interviews, but nobody is giving the mock interviews. Now
Hmm.
till the time you are not giving the mock interviews, you do not feel confident that whether you are learning is right or not right, is it wrong or not wrong. It's totally fine to be feel ashamed at the few of the mock interviews, but you learn a lot of things. So that is like one side of the story. Now other side of the story, let me cover it. Now other side of like where I'm sitting in the panel, or if you are thinking like whether you are designing a system and whatnot, In that particular case, what I felt like, whenever an candidate comes and he will say like, okay, I wanted to uh, they are giving the interview, most of them is like, let's say if the problem is thrown to them, they are like either a clueless, or
Hmm.
what I will say, like they start randomly. Both of the approaches, I'm not sure about it. The thing is, systems are not built over the night. It is like, there is a saying, correct? Rome is not built. Uh, there is a
In
some
one day.
yeah, in a one day. Similarly, systems are not built in a one day. System took a
Hmm.
time. Like, even if so, try to think of it. If you launch a product, you cannot expect like on the first day 10 million customers are going to hit my servers. Correct? There is a certain expectations. So systems are never built for the one day. Now, what people will do, like whenever they start giving the interviews, or they start designing a system, they are clueless. Like, from where to I need to start it? And I can give you the guarantee that most of the companies, whatever the companies you are joining, you don't have a fresh systems. There is a system exist. On the top of it, you need to build up something. And that is what we are looking into it during the interviews. In the interviews, we wanted to give you the open ended question, and how close you can make it for the 40 to 45 minutes or 1 hour interview. That is what you need to prove it. And that is what the worth is all about, the like system design interview. It's not a 0 1. It's not a DSA where you can come up with the answer and I will say like, okay boss, you selected, I will, you got rejected. No, it's over there. The opinion definitely matter. What you are thinking, what is going inside your brain, why you are thinking this, why not this one. So there is a lot of what you say, like, certain designs has a pros, certain designs has a cons. So it always depend, like, how and what you are thinking, and you need to be a very good in communication. Now, another thing which I felt a lot bad about the candidates, they don't know how to speak. Like, I personally felt that from the interviewer perspective, I'm telling you, I don't know like what they are trying to give me an idea. I need someone who can communicate with me, and this is the idea what you are trying to pitch into. Now, if I am able to communicate my thought process, it is great. If you are a very very good candidate, probably you build one of the best system out there in the market. Correct? I'm not denying the fact, but the problem happens like if you are can't able to sell yourself. If you can't able to sell yourself, there is a no meaning of whatever the system you are designing. Even like
Soft
if
skill is
yeah,
lacking.
yeah. So that is like bit about I hope so I answered your question.
Yes,
From
yes. What I got so far is it's not preparation problem, it's a framing problem right now.
yeah,
They
yeah,
are preparing for interview version of system design, not the real version, what actually
yes, correct.
happens. And
Yeah.
those two things look similar on the surface but are completely different when it's when a system breaks at 2 a.m. No one is not everyone is going to handle it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
As you have done so far.
yeah.
Moving connected to this only, wanted to ask, was there a moment earlier in your career where you realized that was, you thought system design was, and what exactly it become so far for you? Was it completely different, what you thought or imagined, what you learned, or when you experienced it in person? How was it? What was the
so
experience?
So
Yeah.
let me share a experience, a very small experience I will share. Probably it will answer your question. So when I joined it, I was a fresher and I joined in a startup. Like, probably not, I did not mention over the LinkedIn, but it was my internship. Like, you can think of it. And over there is a project given to me, like a very simple project. I'll explain you about the project. The project is like, basically you have an Hadoop cluster, and Hadoop is not a scalable cluster, a scalable technology at that time. I'm talking in year 2017 when there was no LLMs and whatnot. And it
Hmm.
was a like, I'm freshly coming out from a college or a degree, and after that somebody is throwing such a problem to me. I'm not sure what to do. Now the thing is, like, I studied something over the internet, and I proposed a solution to my, like, there was my manager, and he was the architect of the solution also for that particular project. And he said like, no, this won't work. I was say like, this will work. And he said like, no, either you haven't done your homework properly, or either you have like missing certain points with respect to systems. And I was surprised like when he said that. Now, the thing is, what is not covered in that design is, I just wanted to highlight few things. So when I propose a solution, I propose a solution with one of the technology, like a Hadoop with Apache Ambari. There is something called Apache Ambari to scale the Hadoop cluster. He said, like, did you figure it out? Couple of more approaches. I said, no. You say like it's like you haven't figured it out. You did not went through and try to figure it out what other system can do. What are the pros and
Hmm.
cons for this approach, and what are missing point over here? And I was like very felt very very ashamed at that given point of time, because it's a one-on-one, and I thought it's my first job, and I will probably lose my job like after that. But
Hmm.
touch wood, I have a very good manager still now. So so what he said is sorry, what he said is like, go back and try to figure it out more things. Try to figure it out like how this actually your system work, and what are the different approaches available. So the scale, what I was missing is scale part, and what he is emphasizing upon a scale part, and what will be like different approaches, and what I was emphasizing upon, like, this is a solution. I'm not looking for a right solution. I'm looking for a some solution which going to work for next 20 to 25 years. Like if you are proposing
Hmm.
this. And that is what the missing part, like, which I believe like most of the people miss it out. And you have seen like I'll give you a lot many examples. So whenever a startup starts, like they start with the idea that I we are not going to scale much. We don't have a money to spend upon. And that's the like bare minimal idea, that I wanted my system which works for 10 or 20 people. Now, if there is a flush of rush of people comes, will my system works? And if you have an answer for this question, that after 20 to 25 years also you do not do a drastic change in your basically in your system, and your system will going to grow more and more. If the number of clients or the number of requests are coming more and more, it is going to handle that load. You are good. If the answer is no, it means it's a wrong design. If the answer is yes, it's a right choice at for the next
Hmm.
couple of years. I won't say like it's a perfect design. It's a right choice at that given moment. Hope so I answered this question.
Absolutely. And as many podcasts I get this experience. This every engineer has their own moment, which you have shared just now. And the ones who become genuinely strong at system design are the ones who, let that moment change how they think instead of just adding it to their list of interview stories.
Got it.
Now let's talk about system design actually look when the stakes are real. So when the engineer says a system needs to scale, most of the time they have never dealt with the kind of scale you daily deal with. What does it actually feel to become responsible for this big of the system?
It's scary. I'm telling you, it's scary. It's a mess. Let me answer you. You do not want it to be on call. Okay. In very
Hmm.
simple words, if you are dealing with a such kind of system, you do not want it to be on call. It's
Hmm.
scary, super scary, because you don't know what could be an issue, how to resolve that issue. Like I being very very honest, I do not wanted to hide anything. So when I joined a, like, I do not want to any name any company over there, but I'll tell you one of the experiences from my past right now. When I joined the company, I was like literally nervous when this system was given to me, and it was like I went on call, and there was a lot of scolding for me. I'm telling you, a lot of scolding. It does not mean that over there you need to go and you just say like, okay, I'm done with the it, I'm done with the development. No, what you need to figure it out, like if there is a scolding going to happen on you, why it is happening. Like I'll tell you, like there is a big data technology, and there was like some one of our clusters is a completely down, and there was an impact on the customers. When you have an impact on the customers, it's like the on call will be like have a lot of troubles. You are sharing the screen probably with 150 people, and they are expecting that you are going to do a magic, and that magic will solve the problem. Okay, that is a like a kind of pressure environment you are sitting into it, because all the customers are like, probably you are not in the front of the customers, like it's a internal customer who are like, basically there is a layer. So there is an engineering layer, then there is a customer facing layer, and then there's a real customers. So the customer facing layer is getting a lot of you can say traction from the customer saying that, okay, my system is not working. Let me introduce, so the cloud which I was working for is a marketing cloud like earlier, and the marketing cloud is responsible for sending a lot of SMS and OTPs, bulk emails and whatnot. Now at any given point of time, if the system underlying system goes down, now each and every customer will say like, okay, OTP is not there, I can't able to do a transaction, I can't able to do a certain thing, I am not getting the emails correct. Now everyone is like, you try to think of it, you done a transaction for a Swiggy, you do not get a OTP. Now how you are feeling at that given point of time? You feel very frustrated, okay boss, why the OTP is not coming on my mobile, correct? And these are like a certain problems which I can say like, okay, if there will be a downtime, you do not want it to be on call, you just want it to be like the day I should not be an on call. So that's the first thing which I wanted to tell you. Now it's a lot of responsibility, it's not a single responsibility. Most of the time what people look into it, there is a couple of aspects of it. So try to think of it this way: you have a customers, you have a customer facing team, and there is a someone who is building on the top of your platform. So let's say you expose certain APIs, and those
Hmm.
APIs interact with the system which is the underlying system, and those will be like, basically I was handling since start of my career, I'm blessed that I am handling these systems. I'm not developing a APIs, I'm developing a systems. Now these systems, probably you think like, okay, this is a responsibility of a team, an API driven team. No, they will come to us and they will say like, okay, we are not a you can say like a front facing figures, but we are the people who like basically see a lot of pressure on us. Like each and every team is saying like, okay, why there is a any big data technology, you talk about Kafka is down, why like identity is down, why your Hadoop clusters are down, why your Flink is down. Each and everyone is coming to you, and for me it needs to be anyhow I need to resolve that issue. And that's a responsibility what you get. And you feel, I'm telling one of the experiences which I wanted to share, like there was like some discussion, and there we were solving a case, and there we were talking about the data loss. If there will be a data loss, there will be a lot many problem, correct? Now what the I'm just giving a confidence, when I solve that problem, I feel a sense of achievement, I feel a sense of responsibility that I did it. You do not get a praise of anything, like you do not expect a praise, but that is what the job is expecting for, and that is what you are paid for it. Now uh, probably you get a good applause from the people or your colleagues and whatnot, but at the end of the day, whenever you are switching, like you are going from one company to different company, these are the applauds which you carry, and these are the items which you sell to other company, correct? Like I did it. What was the incident, how I solved it. Now what will be a resolution factor then, if in future this incident going to happen, what is the mitigation actions I have implemented. All those things you are going to sell it off to the other companies if something is not happening to on this company. Like let's say if there is a promotion due, anything, but these I'll say like sense of the achievement is a last motive once you solve the production issues or anything, I'll say. Yeah, I hope so I answered your question.
Definitely, I can sense this. The responsibility changes how you think about every single decision. That's what you have shared so far.
Yeah.
So, moving to our next concept, which we want to understand from you, sir, is there is a concept called event driven architecture that everyone talks about when they, when the system design name is there. In interviews, everywhere where you can find the name system design, but very few have actually built it at scale. Can you explain this to us, what exactly this term mean?
Okay, so let me I'll explain why the problem. I will not explain why I do not wanted to give us some fancy uh, uh, like a few mug up few line of a statement. I do not wanted to do it. Now you can think of it in very simple words if I will talk about from the platform perspective. So let's say if you are building a Kafka as a cluster or Kafka as a technology, it is already there in the open source and whatnot. But try to think of it. Kafka is a, like some running clusters over there. Now let's say the customer comes and customer wants to provision a topic, because in Kafka you create topics, and within the topics your client team will able to produce, or your application teams able to produce certain messages, correct? Like this is a like a simple architecture of your Kafka. Now let's say, try to think of it. Let's say you have a number of clients who wanted to create a topic, or who wanted to create an ACLs, or who wanted to create certain validations, correct? Now they are like thousands or millions in number, correct? You try to think of it, a service, Kafka as a service provided by Amazon, provided by Oracle, or provided by any of the cloud provider. Similarly, the previous company where I was working at, we have a on-prem clusters. On-prems mean that we are not using any third-party service provider. We are using on-prem clusters. Now, on-prem is like basically if you do certain things, you need to give the solutioning for it. Now, let's say if the customer asks for a topic creation, that I wanted to create a topic, there is a certain set of validations and everything. There is a layer of things which going and trigger, correct? Now, if I make this flow synchronous, what it simply means that if I send one customer sends the request that I wanted to create a topic, so what I will do, I validate, I check the quota, I will like figure it out whether the topic creation is a right or not according to the use case, and then I provision a topic for him. Now, similarly, if he is asking for a ACLs, again a synchronous process, correct? Now, if at the same given point of time 200 or 300 customers are asking that I wanted to create a topic, it's a synchronous process. So it simply means that couple of requests initially will pass, but all of the requests which are waiting in queue, they will fail at given point of time. And that is a problem with the synchronous flow. And that is like where a sync flow or the event driven architecture comes into the picture. You send the event, and respective applications will be responsible for like doing the basically and task or activity on the top of it. So let's say if you wanted to create a topic and you wanted to create an ACL, so validation layer remains the same, but the topic creation will be different, and your basically ACLs creation will be different. Now they both can independently listen upon the topic, and if there will be a vast amount of requests are coming, so I can scale my consumers at this given point of time. Now each and every consumer is now independent. Now I broken my system into the two parts, and this is like a classical example of your event driven system. Now you can think of it lot many event driven systems. I This is a system which I worked upon, that's why I given the example. But you can think of a couple of more examples if you wanted to think of a async example. Try to think of it. Many a times you go to the system and you try to download and like so let's say over the email you have seen that, let's say if you wanted to download a banking statement for next 3 years or 5 years, correct, that you wanted a banking statement of 5 years, you click on it. They don't have an option that they do not display on the screen. They will say like, okay, either we will download it, or either we are going to send you the request over the email. Now over the email you get a answer after the some given point of time, and they will send you the response, certain response that say that okay, your request has been accepted. When it will be get executed, it probably it's 10 minute, 5 minute, and whatever the delays what they put. And that is what the classical one of the another classical example of your event driven system, where it's not a sync. It's like you just submit the task, and there will be certain people or the certain machine who are listening to execute or to act upon the top of it. So that is like what the event driven system what it looks like. Now people have a different philosophy. It like you can break it. You The good part is like you can when somebody talks about the event driven system, you can paralyze it, but it comes with a lot of cons which people does not know it. The couple of cons is like basically which I wanted to talk about, that the error handling becomes very critical. You are talking to the two systems independently, correct? When this system will go down, the system which is consuming the messages from the topic or something, when it goes down, you are not sure about it, correct? Like what will happen to my message once I will send it, correct? If validation fails, how I respond to the customer, all those things will come into the picture. And yeah, like consumption of the events multiple time. If you are sending the mail, so try to think of an example. You consume the message and you are trying to send a mail, correct? You send a mail, and after that it something happens to your system, and you say like, okay, I want to reprocess it. So probably a person will get a 2 times a email, correct? But which is not a good user experience. So how you will handle these kind of scenarios, it is all about a system event driven system, which I wanted to highlight. I hope so I answered.
Yeah, definitely, sir. This was something I must say to everyone watching this podcast कि सर ये पेड क्लासेस में पढ़ाते हैं तो resume the video and note this down क्योंकि इवेंट ड्रिवन सिस्टम आप यूजुअली थ्योरीज में पढ़ के रख लोगे, but getting a real example from someone who is building it, who is working on it, is rare. So yeah, you can listen this like, all again. Sir, let's talk about something which is happening now: AI
Mhm.
everywhere. And
Okay. Not a
okay,
good topic.
this is the most discussed topic of my all the podcast, because people also want to listen. People, this interests people so much that what exactly our career will be when it's AI. क्या
Mhm.
सच में जॉब नहीं मिलने वाली है? क्या सच में सिस्टम डिजाइन का भी सारा काम एआई से हो जाएगा? So as it's an AI era and you have actually built AI into production infrastructures, so what did you learn from doing that, which most engineer talking about AI in system have not figured out yet?
See, the problem I see over here that people are scared of the AI, correct? But the thing is, like,
Hmm.
they are not utilizing the AI. Now, yes, definitely, the AI era changes a lot of things. There is always a boom, correct? There is a dot com boom. Then there is a 2000 problem happened. Then there will be a cloud computing boom in year 2020, and now there is a AI boom, correct? Now, the problem is people want what the people are scared of. They do not want it to ship. They do not onboard on the ship. They are scared of that ship. That is what I felt about whenever somebody says AI. Now, I do understand that there is a like couple of job cuts and whatnot there is going in the market. I will not denying the fact because it is visible in the market. But try to understand that what type of jobs getting cut during in the market. Those is people is not able to, still they are not focusing upon that one. The jobs which are getting cut a lot is like which are redundant or repetitive, definitely. Now, if there will be a redundant and repetitive task, I do not want like why I required a brain over there. I just write an script. Now, nowadays, like script can be written by LLMs also, correct? Now, why I want that one? Why you need to pay a such amount of money to engineers? And then engineers will like basically keep on getting stuck on a certain place. When I say stuck, it's like they keep on learning the same thing, same thing, same thing again. They do not want it to evolve themselves. If there is a no evolution, it is not called a human beings. Human beings meant to be evolved, and if you are not evolving yourself over the period of time, then it is not good. The only thing which is fixed is a change, I will say, and this change is going to be happen. Now you are right now probably you are looking into the AI, but after 10 years or 20 years down the line you are started looking more and more towards the robotics, correct? Now I just wanted to talk about, like, in the AI era you don't have to worry about it. You need to build such kind of system. You need to be confident that you can build such kind of system, because ultimately AI also runs on a system, correct? And if you know that how to build the system, your job is safe. And if you know how to develop an API, probably I will say like your job is not safe. If you're just working to implement your REST APIs and whatnot, I'm telling you, like, I'm pretty much sure, like, all the participants who are going to online on something, if I give them a homework or a task to develop an API, they just go to the LLM nowadays and they just put the code, and whatever the task I have asked, they will generate the code. But none of them will try to understand how that code will work in the distributed environment. None of them will like try to understand how internally the code works. And I do not, being very very honest, I do not want it to work with someone who do not have a in-depth understanding of something. You are just you need to spend certain time to figure it out the system. I totally in the favor of using AI in the day-to-day production environment or any of the infra what you are developing. But if you have a clarity, then it is good. The problem is, like, if you don't have a clarity, the infrastructure will fail badly. The infra, if you are using just an AI to generate certain thing, your infra will fail badly. And if infra fails, probably company will lose millions of dollars in a day or in a over the minute of period of time. You do a one deployment, and if your infra fails, it will take down all your systems. And that is like not at all good.
Hmm.
Like, I think so couple of examples already there in the market. Like, if you follow the recent technical blogs or technical talks and whatnot, There is the systems like where people are pushing the code using the AI, and once the code will be there in the picture and like it is gone, your system is gone. Now it will take a lot of amount of energy or effort to take back my system back, and which is not easily possible. So
Hmm.
I will say like AI is good, like you should use it, but I don't I have an opinion that if you don't have a in-depth understanding of anything, please try not to fool yourself rather than fooling someone around. You need to learn it. That's it, my take is over here for the AI as an infrastructure. Yeah.
And if we talk about, as we are talking about this time AI era, and here comes the interviews as well. If you had to name some of the biggest mistakes engineer make in system design interviews often, and as you are an interviewer taker, as you yourself, take hundreds of mocks every day. So what's the real problem?
The problem is like many a times students think like they can fool a person nowadays, like I being very very honest, like I have seen scenario like people are cheating it, like I don't have a problem, you cheat it, okay. I believe like many a times people will try to answer the question using the AI, correct.
Hmm.
The problem is you do not understand there is a difference between DSA problem and the system design problem. In DSA problem, you probably look into the code and you can answer it, the solution. It's very, very fine. You write the code. But in system design, there is a like a hell amount of ifs and else and buts. So now if you're generating any kind of solution using like your using LLMs during your interviews and whatnot, I think so you are trying to fake it out during the during the interviews. And I believe like this is the one of the biggest gap which I felt of. People are not sure about what they are saying it, but interviewer is very sure about what he is listening in. Now the problem is like as soon as you say something, interviewer will ask a follow-up question on the top of it. Now when somebody is asking a follow-up question, you will have to read the complete para again, and that is a kind of amount of time you don't have in the system design interviews. You don't have it. So I like this is the one of the biggest mistake which
Hmm.
I felt like engineers are doing it, like they are trying to make a fool to a person who is like already building a system since a lot many years. Like I'm not talking about myself. It will be probably a couple of more people who are there in the industry and they are doing the same particular part. So they will figure it out. Okay. So that is the one thing. The second thing is like what I felt is the another bigger gap is the how to articulate your answer. Now let's say you've studied a lot and you don't know how to articulate your answer, and that's what like people start failing again. I like if you say something, I will not accept it, because system design interviews are something which is driven by you. It's not by the interviewer. Interviewer will say like, okay, this question what I'm giving you, like for an example, you wanted to design a system called Uber, correct. Now, many a times I have seen like it's a 45 minutes interview. People will talk
Hmm.
about all the features of Uber, correct? They do not know the scoping. Now, if you have a 8 years of experience and you are just talking about for the 45 minutes for the functional requirement, you needs to be a better to be a product engineer, a product manager. You should not be in the position of like coming and giving an interview for an IC or an staff or the senior engineers, correct? Now that gap is it's a very soft gap. And the another thing is like the problem is whenever you are working in a company, whenever you are working in a company, you do not get always a chance to work upon such kind of system, because if you do not prove your worthiness, people won't give you the project. It's not easy to get the project. First you need to prove the company that I am uh, a employee who can deliver the best of best result, and then only you start getting the such kind of projects. So that is also again a missing part, because if you don't have a such kind of experience of building the system, then you definitely comes to the interview, you don't know what to do it. So that is another gap which I wanted to call it out. So now just to talk about to how to fulfill that gap, if you wanted to fulfill your last gap, you probably do a lot of reading. Many a times you have an architecture diagrams created by your teams and your senior engineers or the PMTs and whatnot, or the architects. You read it, you consume it, you go and ask the question that why you are designing a system. The problem with Indian culture is what I believe it, that since childhood we say like, okay, we just follow A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Nobody is saying like why A is A, B is B, C is C. Correct? We just follow it. We do not ask questions. If you start asking questions, if you start opening your mouth, somebody will say like, okay, this is a bullshit question. That is the maximum or the worst thing he will say. He will not going to kill you. So if you are not asking the questions, you are not going to learn it. And that's what like I felt during the system design interviews. People will start thinking in their mind own, and they believe like interviewer is getting everything. No, that is not the system design interviews. And these are the couple of gaps which I have seen in the when I take the interviews or the mock interviews. I hope so I answered. Three mistakes I will say.
Definitely. And there could there could be the instances जब भी आपको कोई बच्चे का इंटरव्यू बहुत अच्छा लगा होगा या आपको वो पसंद आया होगा, तो connected to that only, when a candidate impressed you in system design round, what are the different things they are doing which others are not doing. So I wanted to connect the other question to this only. Yeah.
Very hard to find it out this. I remember one of my experience like where my senior senior engineer took me to the call, and he was like saying that okay, you just join as a shadow, do not say anything. And I was shadowing it, and then at the end he was asking like, what is your opinion on the candidate? I said no. And he was like, okay, my opinion does not matter because ultimately I was shadowing it. I said no, it is no, I do not like the candidate. So it is very very hard to impress the candidate, very very hard to impress an
Yeah.
interview during the design interviews. But I will talk about one of the experiences when I was like, I will talk in the terms of mocks. I did not got any such candidate during my like, might be I am too harsh, but I might not get any such kind of candidates. But I was taking in mock, and that guy is like told me, no, my bad, it was a lady who told me like I wanted to give an interview, or like basically a mock on a certain topic. I said like okay fine, and it was she given me a topic, and I was like okay, I'm happy to take a mock. Now the thing is, I cannot go empty handed. I should bring my knowledge also, and she needs to bring her knowledge in the platform. Correct? When we are talking, so the
Hmm.
thing is, I did my lot of homework, and I was surprised. Like to be very very honest, I was very very surprised that each and every counter question, which I figure it out from here, there, or reading like 10, 20 articles, she know each and everything in a lot depth. And I was like okay, I was amazed the kind of effort a candidate is putting to just prepare on a single topic. It's not a 1 day job what she did it. I'm pretty much sure it will be a 1 week job or a 2 week job, correct? But she did it. And
Hmm.
in the process she learned a lot of things. And that is a like a dedication. What you want is like when you are expecting uh, you can say like you wanted to crack a MNC, Amazon, or you wanted to crack an Microsoft, or you wanted to crack any other company. I will not say like target only these companies. If you are good in system design, nowadays startup space a lot much better, like if you are good in system design. So that is like only my take about the candidate. I don't know where she went. I'm pretty much sure after some time she joined, I think so, Walmart or something. But I was very very happy with the candidate. That okay, she put a lot of effort, and yeah, she deserved it. I believe. And she was not a less experience. I'm telling you, it just she was like not on the right track. It's like
Hmm.
after a certain given point of time she was on the right track for the preparation. She has the experience, she built the system very very nice systems, whatever she explained me. So I don't think so like there is a gap with the like amount of experience. It's a gap between like how to learn the systems. Yeah, that's it, I can say.
That intrigues us ki there are real experiences, and if she can anyway listen to this podcast, she'll be very proud that yeah, I was that candidate who performed well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I not definitely not going to take her name, but yeah, I know her
Hmm.
name.
Okay. Sir, see, when we prepare for system design interviews, it's overwhelming sometimes. So, candidate do ask us many times, uh, If someone has 4 weeks before a senior system design interview, senior interview, what would you actually tell them to focus on and what not to focus on?
Hmm. Got it. Uh, so so 4 weeks I will not say is a good amount of time, to be very honest, to prepare for the interviews. Not at all. But if you want a quick overlook, like let's say if you are preparing since long and you are not getting a call, and by somehow you will get a call, like let's say if you got an interview call and they said, most of the companies won't nowadays, most of the companies won't give you a such kind of buffer to prepare. The only companies
Hmm.
which I remember, like which used to give a good buffer, is a Google. Like I am not sure about the other companies. The thing is that there is a lot of engineers out there in the market, and that's why like you need to prepare for each and every day. The thing is, you think of this way, that if there is a call from the recruiter, and recruiter will say like, I wanted to schedule a call, you should say yes, schedule me a call for the next day. And that is a kind of a preparedness you should have. But if somebody is asking this question, is like basically they wanted to skip the line, and that is not possible. But still, if it is an advice I wanted to give you, I will give a certain advice, that go for a particular company, open your chat gpt and whatnot, open the like recently asked system design questions. Like best way, you don't have to scan or something, you just need to give a right prompt to the chat gpt, that what type of questions is being asked at that given point of time, since last 1 month or 2 month or something like that. Now after that, those questions are not too many, like you do not get a surprising list of 20 questions, 21 questions. No, system design is like have a bare minimal number of questions. Now on those questions, you just try to prepare yourself a best of best. And once you have like those questions in place, you will say like, okay, I'm just going for it. Now if the day is yours, day is yours. If day is not yours, probably someone comes and he will ask you the out of the box question, then you need to figure it out an answer for it. But I will say like there is nothing called a 4 weeks before an even if it is, I'm pretty much sure it's a senior interview question, and if you are not preparing for it since long, you might be end up in a position where you will be like just uh, like scratching your head, or probably you are giving some answer and you like uh, fall into a trap. And now if you are prepared, like if you, the day is yours, the question will be yours. I'll say like whatever you prepared for it within the 1 month, and then you will definitely able to solve it. But yes, again there is a catch in that one. Now the catch is like many a times you just read upon the questions or the answers provided by the chat gpt and whatnot, correct? And that is not a good part, because you just have a high level overview, like okay, this is whatnot. I have seen like people just copy paste the code and paste it like this is a solution of the chat gpt and whatnot. They never ask a question that why this is lying, could you explain me a bit more, why it is happening, can't there will be another approach for this one? So those things will not come like until unless you do not read or do not study or you do not build a system. So I personally recommend like you go for a solution of the chat gpt, I don't have a problem with that one. But I definitely want like you start thinking from the perspective that what is your perspective for this question, why you are wrong, why you are right. It's a choices, it's a requirements what makes the difference. And I think so that is a right way of approaching a problem, rather than just mugging up the problem or looking into that this is a solution provided by someone and that's it. No, I don't think so that is a real engineering problem you are solving. Yeah, that's the take right now for 4 week.
Definitely, it was very helpful for us. And um connected to that, when we talk about resources, you also teach. Many a times this happens. We opt for bad resources, which shouldn't be there, because that misguide us and disturb our preparation. So, talking about that, is there anything that most system design prep resources teach that you think is actually wrong or misleading and that should be avoided?
um See, there is nothing wrong and right or misleading. I will say, like each and every content, the person who is whosoever making the content, they're definitely doing their homework and then coming with the content and whatnot. I'll say the problem is the misleading is wrong is a not a right word. I will say misleading. It become misleading when so an example you take it. Example I will say it. You started reading about one system and you have some pre-assumptions that this system needs to work in this way, and you like started reading about it. when you are started listening about someone, the problem is you listen, correct, and you have some preconceptions, and you are trying to validate those preconception whatever the person is saying. And that is, I will say, like, that is not a right way of learning. You are trying to validate, whether my learning is right or not. That is not the way of learning, I will say. And that moment it becomes misleading, because person will come into a dilemma, and he or she will say like, okay, this is something wrong because I have this understanding. Now, each and every word, whenever you listen a recording, or whenever you listen you have some pre assumptions, it said in a certain context, and that context is certainly missing. And I believe that is a misleading part. Okay, and that's what, like, someone says like, okay, someone is teaching wrong. No, this is wrong. That is not a right way say it. The right way is like to ask a question, saying that on which context you are telling that this is a statement. Might be when somebody is trying to record and lecture, it's a context which is missing. And that's why, like, people are, many a times when you start getting the experience, I believe people becomes more and more ardent, and they just trying to validate whether my learning is right or whether he's teaching or she's teaching right. No, that is not a right way of learning. I believe learning comes from the scratch. You just need to remove your pre assumptions. You learn from someone and with the context. Now, whatever you learned previously, you just bring that context into the picture. And if there will be a gap, and then only you will say, like, okay, you need to clarify now. And that will solve your mislead, wherever you are getting misled or wherever you are getting wrong. It might happen. I am totally agree. We all are the humans, like whosoever teaching it out. It might happen that I said something wrong. It does not means like I wanted to teach you wrong or somebody wants to be wrong at that place. No, it might be sometime a slip of a tongue. It might be a something like he or she will be thinking. So ultimately, that if you are saying directly you are wrong, it's not a right way of saying it. You need to ask and say that, okay, what is the context you are saying it, and this is my understanding. Can we have a discussion? And that's why, like, I said it. This is not a DSA where you run your test cases, 92 out of 92 test cases pass. No, this is not a DSA. Over here, there is a lot of context which builds up the solution or the problem. And that is like which I believe uh, m- becomes a misleading in the cases of system design, or wrong eventually. Like, I do not see like any of the resources are bad. All the resources are good, but it just like the people how they follow it. Yeah, that's it what I can say.
That was really helpful, sir. And again, I would suggest to everyone listening, if you found value in this podcast and you think this could help you, resume the podcast and listen it all again and note it down this time, because these are something you won't be finding anywhere else. These are some real, knowledge which you're getting from someone who takes the interview, who is in system design, who is building systems every day. uh, Sir, my we want to ask you last but not least, but as you yourself prepared a lot for interviews, system design, and started your career with the same, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing about system design before you started your career, something no one teaches you, would it be?
Nobody teaches, like, only thing what I can say at the end, like, nobody taught me that uh, uh, that the conference doc or the architecture docs or the architecture meetings will be helpful in your career. And now that is the only different part which I did in my career, because nowadays you have a lot of resources. You have like on YouTube you go it, somebody is teaching system design. Now you have a platform like Geeks for Geeks over there, like you have a live classes and whatnot, correct? But the only thing which these platforms won't teach, they will tell you like, okay, that you wanted to go and learn it, this and this, correct? The only and the second part is like, what people does not have is a commitment. I am telling you, like, two things is missing. Nobody teaches you, like, this is not at all being taught by someone. One is like definitely if you are learning system design, is like basically you need to go through the architecture meetings, you need to read the confluent docs, and you need to read your designs of your company. Now the third thing is fourth thing which is not being taught is like a self discipline. I believe like self discipline is very very important to learn system design. Now it will be not a one day job where you can just say like, okay, I learned the system design. It is not like a arrays where you just learn the arrays and you say that okay, data structure arrays is working this way. No, you don't have like, you have infinite possibilities of each and everything. That's what like I recommend you that you need to be disciplined. I'm not over here, like I should not say it this way. I'll say like, okay, uh, to become disciplined, I'm not a disciplined guy, but how I'm becoming a disciplined guy, in very very simple terms, I take batches, correct? So when I take batches, I need to learn myself, I need to study a lot, and then need to deliver that 2.5 hours lecture a content, correct? And I need to read a lot of papers for that one. Now I need that kind of discipline from the student also. If I teach you something or if you learn something, you go and dig it out. Dig it out, use ChatGPT. Do not use ChatGPT just for generating the answer. Use ChatGPT for figuring it out, the in-depth understanding of any topic, whatever you are thinking of it. So that is very very important. Discipline, I will say, and reading your the confluence doc or the architecture diagrams within the company, or joining the architecture meetings. And yes, definitely talking to colleagues. I will just want to add one more. Yeah.
Sir, before we conclude this podcast, there are few comments which are important to cater. Students are asking that what are the skills? Two, three comments for the same thing in comment section. What are the skills they should focus on if they want to crack system design interviews and they want to get into this field?
Now I will say like it's a vast field. I'll say it, but you need to hold upon any of the one of the technologies. You can pick up any of the big data technologies. You can think of it a Flink, you can think of a Hadoop, you can think of a Kafka, you can think of like Cassandra, you can think of it any of that one technology. Now try to understand that how that technology end to end work. And when I'm saying end to end, it does not mean that you are just learning that technology. No, do not try to learn the technology. Try to think of it, if I wanted to deploy this technology in the production scale, and how my customers is going to interact with this technology. And
Hmm.
if you have a very clear cut idea about one of the technology, it will open your minds for data partitioning. It opens your mind for the data sharding. It opens your mind for the fault, building a system which is fault tolerant. It may opens your mind for making your system very highly available. Now it open your mind that where I need to put a load balancer, how I need to put a load balancer, where to use what type of load balancer, and where to use what type of database, whether I want a metadata database, I want a key value database, or I want a database which is a columnar database or a SQL database. Now I
Hmm.
have seen like many a times like people just talk about just technologies. They say like, okay, Postgres, it's not an answer. It's like why you are using a Postgres. So I'll say like whatever the technology you pick up to learn your distributed systems, you just learn about, as an user, how I'm going to use this technology, as an platform, how I'm going to scale this platform, and how, if the user throughput is increasing, whether my platform going to take a hit or not going to take a hit, and how I'm going to serve the answers or serve the result from the whatever published to my platform. If you have these three questions in place for any given technology, I think so you are very good enough in a good space that you can start with the system design like learning more about the systems, like probably from there onwards. So I'll not tell you any given technology. It just I'm telling you like what you need to learn it at given point of time.
I hope this is this definitely it's a fulfilling answer, and I hope it gave conclusion to many comments. The another question we have is where to start currently admitting to tier 3 private engineering college but confuse where to start and what should I where should I end. So exactly this person is needing like need direction, and what exactly need to do to build a career. That's
I,
what
I,
he's asking. And
I'll, I'll say in this way. First of all, stop panicking. Second thing is start focusing. Now, like if you are trying to just go on the LinkedIn and start following the people and you are just looking for the job, that is not a right way of looking for a job. You haven't developed anything and you are looking for a job. That is not the right thing. And ask to yourself, like, how many hours you are committing to your WhatsApp, how many hours you are committing to Instagram, how many hours you are committing to something. Okay. If your commitment is like somewhere around 11 to 10 hours for the Instagram or the social media accounts, you are not doing anything, you are just faking out yourself. Okay. And there is a no
mhm,
meaning of this question on this platform. Now, just to rely upon, if you are working really really hard and if you are very confident about it, I'll say like start doing some open source contribution. You pick up any open source contribution and start contributing in that open source. Many companies like open their clients libraries, many companies open their like probably client libraries, sometimes they open it, some startups open their own packages and whatnot, and Apache is already open source, correct? So you start contributing in those ones if you are not good in the DSA and whatnot. And nowadays, like, if you are good, you need to be good in DSA. I'm not saying it not very very good. I will say like you just need to know what the right DSA or the right data structure needs to be used. Now, after that, if you are very confident upon these things, you just reach out with a good curriculum or the good resume saying that you are an open source contributor. I'm pretty much sure any startup is going to offer you any package if you are looking for it. It's not a big deal for the startups. Now,
mhm,
initially, I will not recommend the people start thinking about the money and whatnot. When I started my career, I'm just very, very honest and open. I started with a 2.8 or something like that, bare minimal. Now, if you just need to be confident, you just gain an experience, and when you are gaining an experience, what I have seen, like many of my friends also do, like they just gain an experience, they do not grow up. You just keep growing up, keep learning the new things, and apart from your work, you need to spend a lot of time. I used to spend like approximately in a day 18 hours or 19 hours in a day or 20 hours in a day, like just learning. I put my sleep cycle to the bare minimal. Even nowadays also I sleep very very less. Like I am learning couple of things, like even the weekends I am taking the classes, so I'm learning. So you need to be, if you are a student and if you are asking this question, first you ask like how much time you are spending on the social media accounts and whatnot. Now if your answer is like I'm spending 8 hours and 10 hours, please do not ask this question in any of the platform, because you are just fooling around. Like very straightforward answer. Now the thing is, like, if this prerequisite is fulfilled, then I already answered your question that what you need to do like over the period of time. And please do not run upon the languages that I wanted to learn Java whatnot. No, try to be very very flexible. Learn any of the languages whatever you are comfortable with. You learn the concept and you change the language. In my career I started with Java or something. uh, I learned, I started Java, then I worked upon C, then I worked on the scripting, then I worked on the Terraform, I worked on the .NET, then I worked upon Golang, and then again, sometime I worked upon the JS script and whatnot. So it's totally, please do not run away the languages. Be very specific and be very like confident about picking up the things. Yeah, I will say that's it.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insights and the wisdom you have shared with us. Definitely, it would be very helpful for our students and for someone who want they will listen the entire podcast of this of Abhishek sir, and they want to learn from him. Drop your email ID in the comment section. We'll reach out to you because he teaches system design so well. And for the people who want to keep learning, you can follow us on our social channels, and we'll be definitely coming up with another podcast with another person. Sorry.
I'll take up one more question.
Sure.
Abhi.
Sure.
If
Sure.
environment is a major advantage, how students create the environment for themselves? I'll say like nice question, to be very very honest. The thing is, like, most of the time what people says that they wanted to talk to the industry experts, they wanted to talk to the industry experts, correct? I'll say industry experts are old guys. Like I am an old person, correct? I left my college as a 9 years back, correct? And what is the right person for you? You need to bring pick up that person. The right person will be probably a good friends to whom you are talking, and probably one mentor, like which is having a 9 years and 10 years experience, correct, it just for the mentorship. But you pick up
Hmm.
the uh, students who just recently passed out and they joined certain startups or something. They will teach you better, like how they did in their career. Now if you bring up that aura in your college, or that basically discipline in your college, might be like, see, it's I'm telling you, like, it just one person can change the complete college many a times. Like even when I started it, like my college placement was not that all great, like, and when I left also it was not that great. But when I left it, like the college, and when I started working, and we all are friends like who are not working in the good companies, we don't have like good start from the career. We are not sure about how to go for the DSA, but we are in touch at that given point of time. Now
Hmm.
I can say, like, after 3 years or 4 years, we all are placed into a certain companies which will be giving us like 20, 30, 40, 50 LPs. So I think so that discipline is important, and that friend circle is very, very important, who wanted to learn and who wanted to grow in the career. I'll just recommend that one. It might be that initially you feel that okay, no companies are coming in your college, but after some time, if you prove yourself, the companies also go to your college. My college is already done, like it's closed, so none of the company can visit. But definitely, if you prove yourself, the company will say like, okay, there is a candidate who is worth enough, who can, due to him I can go and visit the college. And that is a change what you need to be in a part of your college, I will say it. That's it, the answer about. Yeah, hope so I answered.
Thank you so much, Abhishek sir, for answering all the comments. Yeah, we have covered it all because student have asked recurring questions. So yeah, so far it's done, and now hopefully there, if you have doubt, you can reach out to us on your social channels. We'll be asking sir their answers and giving back to you definitely.
For
Thank
sure.
you so much for this podcast and coming here. We'll be live again with another podcast tomorrow, 8 p.m. And till then, do like, share, and subscribe, and keep watching Geeks for Geeks. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Thank you. Bye guys, bye everyone.